Welcome back, guys. In this match I'm playing in arcade rank 3 lineup with the Russians this time. This time I will be fielding the KV-220, Russian premium war tank, battle rating 5.7 in arcade, which is an 85mm. And later I will also be using the Russian captured Panther T5. This KV-220 is one of my favorite vehicles overall in the game. It is so troll. Not a lot of people know about its weaknesses, and it also doesn't really have a lot of them. And it is so troll. The armor 100mm all around, and a lot of the times people flank you and shoot you in your angled side armor and they bounce, or they shoot you in the back of the turret and they bounce, and it's just quite amusing sometimes. And as you can see, the gun, yeah, typical Russian 85mm knocks out whatever it can find in one shot. It has weak spots. The driver front plate is pretty flat, so you can be penned by 130, 150 pen in that range and up. Yeah, but as long as you angle, you can be safe from every gun that has less than 160 pen. As long as they don't shoot your front turret. Funnily enough, the gun mantlet is the weakest part of the tank. But it is pretty hard to hit if you stay mobile and don't move, and IS-2, and he bounces on the turret, which was very lucky. IS-2 could have knocked us out here very easily, but the armor held up here. And you see another one. I shoot him at the same time as he shoots me, and he only knocks out our gun. That's the funny thing about this tank. Even though the gun mantlet is only 90mm thick and flat, most of the time, if people pen it, the shot just gets absorbed by the gun breech and the gun. Don't really understand why, but it does. So even penetrations to the turret don't really result in getting you one shot. You maybe lose 0 to 3 guys or something with a pen to the turret, and the rest just yeah, stays alive. And we knock out another T-34-85, but he again got penned through the turret front, and we lost the crew member. Nothing to worry about, we can repair that. We penned the T-34-57, but not a one-shot, because we only had a shot on his outer left side of the tank. Second shot finishes him off. And now I make the mistake to not angle enough. My front is not angled enough, and the T-34-85, yeah, he knocks me out through the driver plate. It takes a bit getting used to, in my opinion, with playing the KV-220, because sometimes you have to give them more of your side armor than you would do with any other tank at this battle rating or nearly in the game, because it has so much side armor. Yeah, you can bait the enemy in shooting the side armor by over angling, and that still gives you 150 side armor, and it also makes the driver front plate around 150 strong, 145, and that can be enough to bounce the 85mm rounds. Against the German guns though, I would advise to just move backwards and forwards and try to tempt them to shoot the side armor on an angle so it bounces. Because against the Panther and the Tiger, your armor thickness cannot really hold up. You have to use the angling or to be able to finish them. And we knock out T-34-57 here. We'll just put another IS-2 as well in the cap. I'm risking here to still drive forward, but not giving the IS-2 a good solution. Only popping out between those wrecks when I can. And luckily enough, I knock out his turret ring here, and I can finish him off. I'm not really sure why he didn't fire here. I thought that I would be dead, because the IS-2 can just wall pen you in the Panther. Don't really have to aim. Again, getting into the defensive position at B. Because my teammates are heavily fighting and A and C the whole battle nearly, so I pretty much had to fight over here alone with only two people helping. And I get rushed. But both of those T-34-85 bounce. Now I'm moving back and forwards and trying to get the T-34 to bounce, and he does. Because the Panther armor can be trollish if you cannot aim a shot at a perfectly still sitting target. Not really sure why he just drives forward here. Overconfident, I guess. Getting tracked by the arty. And we quickly repair it. At this point the enemy is pretty much finished. We cannot really do anything now. We pushed them back and depleted their respawns. Catching another T-34-85 in the side while he's attempting to go over to the A point. And we detonate his ammo rack, or knock out his crew with the signature. Next, going over to C, because I realized that all of my friends got knocked out at sea. Especially in arcades, the Panther can be very nice to zoom around over the battlefield. If it gets up to speed, it's quite nimble here. And we catch the T-34 off guard. For a 13th kill, I think. I hope this shows how powerful a Russian premium lineup is at this tier. You can pretty much dominate most of the games, and for some reason I always felt like playing top tier even though I wasn't, because in this battle we were facing 6.0 tanks, and in other tanks I was fighting against 6.3 tanks or something, but you never really feel like you are at a disadvantage like in some other nations where you are fighting with 5.7 setup. I think the Germans and the Russians here have pretty good tanks at that battle rating. If the matchmaker doesn't put you in 6.7, because that can do you in quite heavily. But I never had one in the last 2 days, a 6.7 match, so probably I'm a bit lucky. Yeah, that's it, guys. See ya.